keep going, and then Candace, feel free to answer at any time. When it comes to sleep problems, though, it's usually never just one, and you'll see that in our case studies. There's usually multiple things going on, and so it's tackling and creating a plan that addresses each of those sleep problems. The first thing is, when it comes to treating sleep, though, is to rule out anything medical. So some examples might be snoring. That's a common one that we always ask, and we want to make sure kids aren't snoring, because kids or even adults shouldn't be really snoring. It means something's blocking your airway when you're sleeping, and that's that sound is the muscle, just the air trying to pass through a closed gap. So always wanting to rule that out, any swollen tonsils or adenoids as well. Seizures, restless leg, iron deficiencies. These are all things that impact sleep medically. So before tackling it, being sure that everything is fine internally, and then taking a behavioral approach and attacking the sleep problem. And really, anything can happen once we start treating sleep. So that support is helpful.
We're going to get to melatonin.
Yes,
yeah.
We'll get to melatonin for sure. Okay. Sleep and autism. When it comes to the research and just kind of learning about how common it is in the autistic community, the prevalence is pretty high. And so when it comes to sleep, it might be a skill deficit. So that is that lack of knowing how to fall asleep and maybe never learned. And this can go for a lot of people. I feel like I also had that issue. There might be a physiological component. So there is research to show that with a diagnosis of autism, there may be some atypical circadian rhythm, something going on there, lower levels of melatonin, which can impact our ability to fall asleep. Impaired REM stages, so not getting as much REM sleep, or maybe not getting as much deep sleep, which can impact the quality of the sleep that's being achieved. And then weaker circadian rhythm cues, so unable to, the cues that are in the natural environment that like light and like meals and things like that, they might not be, their body isn't cued as much as it is for others. So, and then some interfering behaviors that can get in the way of sleep. So that might be what I've noticed is sometimes interfering behaviors can really increase cortisol levels. And so stress, your body's under stress. And if that happens, then our bodies aren't ready for sleep. So, yeah. See this list restorative. That's interesting. Yeah, definitely with food, trying to make sure that you're giving yourself lots of time to between your last meal and falling asleep is really important. It can impact your quality of sleep for sure. Some people, I used to say that I slept better on a full stomach, but then I learned pretty quickly as I started diving into sleep that wasn't so good for my stomach and for my gut in general. And so that's definitely something and that's interesting. The Fitbit picked that up. I do find the Fitbit is awesome for data. The heart rate is higher in the earlier part. Yeah. Body's working hard to digest that food.
And your digestive system actually shuts off during sleep.
It needs to go to sleep too, repair.
Yeah. So when you put too much into your tummy before bed, like your digestive system goes a little crazy trying to get rid of it. It can include milk. Yeah, your digestive system in general shuts down during sleep.
Anything other than water?
So anything other than water, it's going to have a harder time digesting. Is a glass of milk before bed going to make or break your sleep? Probably not. But it might be a variable to look at if all else is not really working, is to really start to fine tune, because you just never know. Everybody processes differently. Same with caffeine, everybody's liver processes at different rates. And so some people, caffeine passes through quite quickly, and other people it doesn't. It's a little bit slower to process. Everybody sort of has different rates of doing things. So in general, what we do is we assess. So we answer that why. We develop a plan. The plan is based on parent goals. It's not us telling you what sleep should look like. We're guiding you. because there's always different considerations when it comes to sleep, family life, culture, etc. So the plan is really based on conversation and making sure that we're providing the information that's needed and coming up with a plan that will work, but one that's also doable. We provide support, so we review the plan. We do all of this remotely, so our model is entirely remote. So we talk with you about the plan, fine tune it, make sure all questions are answered. We can try to role play. We do all sorts of stuff to make sure that you're confident. We support the first few nights, so either messaging or phone. We provide direct support, and then move into the maintenance phase. And we typically find within the first week or two that there's improvements in sleep, and we're moving into maintenance fairly quickly, depending on how extensive the plan is and how quickly we're kind of moving into it.